I've always thought one of the things everyone can agree on in Plants vs Zombies 2 is that the best plants in the game are the fruits. They're really unique and fun to play with, and at least they've always been my favourite. So today I'm going to try and beat all of Plants vs Zombies 2 using only fruit plants. But before we start the video, I'm going to quickly go over the rules of the challenge. Rule number 1, I can only use fruits. Pretty self-explanatory. This means there will be no sunflowers, I have no way to get any extra sun, and the way I'll be telling if a plant is a fruit or not is if either the plant is based on a fruit, looks like a fruit, or it has a fruit name in it. Any of those three, any combination of those three, and I think it's safe to assume we have a fruit on our hands. Rule number 2. Some levels have pre-planted plants. There's literally nothing I could do about this, and the challenge is going to be hard enough as it is. So if I come across a level with a bunch of pre-planted plants, I'm just going to leave them basically. And lastly, any conveyor belt levels I'm allowed to skip because 1, they're boring, and 2, there's not really much I can do when I'm not given any fruits to use. Hopefully everything's cleared up now, and finally, big shout out to the YouTuber on screen. He was the inspiration for this challenge, link in the description if you want to find his channel. After setting up my account and naming my profile obviously Whitey Greeley, we're put into the tutorial where days 1, 2, 3 are unfortunately all done fruitless. But on day 3 we do actually unlock the potato mine, which for some reason I thought was a fruit, which basically means I'm going to be using potato mines only for the first bit of this challenge. Crazy Dave then eats his taco, which puts us in a shitty cutscene, and we somehow end up in the Egyptian era. Day 1 is just a plant food tutorial, and I have no access to fruits yet, so I just played the game normally. Days 2 and 3 were more tutorials, and day 4 was a conveyor belt level. But then we were forced to level up a pea shooter, which reminds me about another rule I forgot to mention earlier. If you didn't know, Plants vs Zombies has been ruined by EA. They've added levels, they've added basically all the in-app purchases you could even think of. So to combat this, I'm not going to level up any of my plants, and I'm also not allowed to spend any real life money on the game. The next couple of days we're just playing the game normally, and finally on day 7 we have access to the shop where if needs be we can buy some plants with gems. But if you look at my gem count, I'm broke as fuck, so cue the montage.
One eternity later.
After getting 100 gems, we can finally add the first member of the team, the Kiwi Beast, which is good because on day 8 this means the challenge will officially start. The bad news is though, in almost the first 5 seconds of the first real level of this challenge, we run into our first problem. These torch zombies. All they do is one-shot anything that they come near, and you might be thinking, okay, just kill them before they can come near your plants. But let me show you what happens when a torch zombie meets one of my kiwis. Yeah, pretty much a direct counter to the only thing I can use. Anyways, we barely scrape past and move on to level 10, where I did actually manage to find a counter to these torch zombies. If I ever had any spare plant food, I could just use it on the kiwi before the zombie even got close, which would basically kill it instantly, so I guess they're not that big of a deal. Day 10 was an easy level and no match for my kiwis. The only problem with using premium plants like the Kiwi Beast is that they're so overpowered in this game. The low amount of sun didn't even matter because an entire row of kiwis could just easily wipe out a level. So I'm going to nab the idea of this video's inspiration, and every time it's a boring level, I'll tell you some interesting fruit facts. Did you know that kiwis are flightless birds and they're actually the national animal of New Zealand? Wait, what? Oh, that doesn't sound right. Did you know that kiwis are considered a superfood and one of the most nutritious fruits in the world? Anyways, day 11 I wasn't even allowed to choose my plants, and day 12 was a breeze. I know I made a joke about the kiwi bird earlier, but did you know that the kiwi's name was inspired by the kiwi bird due to their similar body shapes? Day 13 was a brand new type of moss level which was dead easy along with day 14. But right after this we unlocked the greenhouse, where the game literally edges me, giving me 100 gems and then forcefully taking them away from me straight after. Day 15 was our first protection level, and it felt as if the Kiwi Beast was made for these type of modes. Nothing really happened on day 16, other than we get to see the Buckethead zombie for the first time, which seems a bit late. One of these bad boys alone can kill a full kiwi beast, so I need to look out for them. After getting another 100 gems, I could either buy the lava guava or the electric currant, which was the one I ended up going with. The reason I bought this plant is for versatility. The kiwi beast is just so overpowered, and I was getting a bit scared that every single level would just be me wiping it easily. Day 17 was really difficult and we had an extremely close call, but luckily the currant managed to clutch it out. This just shows that we need multiple plants in this game, because having only one is just not good enough in all situations. Day 18 was our first plan your defense level, and my first setup looked absolutely baller, but unfortunately it didn't work and we had to go with a more basic design. Day 19 was wiped out by the most overpowered fruit setup I've ever seen, and so was day 20. On day 21, we're introduced to the watermelon, which we're able to use, and it's quite nice to have a bit of diversity in the team for once. I can really feel the ramp in difficulty on day 22. A bunch of these coffin zombies kept spawning in, and although we've seen them before, they kept breaching my lines. However, day 23 was the most difficult part of this challenge by far. My first attempt, 2 torch zombies spawned in the worst possible places, and it made me lose all of my lawnmowers. Then a f***ing gargantuan came out of nowhere, leaving me with no way to counter it. Overall, this level probably took me about an hour, and it does not fill me with hope for the future of this challenge. And the last level of Egypt was a plan your defense level, and of course, we swept it all with just kiwis. Finally, we're here, Pirate Seas. It's nice to have a change of scenery for once, but unfortunately we're still stuck with the overpowered premium plants that absolutely sweep day 1. But if we actually preview this world, you can all see we're about to unlock some new fruits, which I'm very excited for. Again, day 2 was swept by the kiwis, but on day 3 we're introduced to not only these new water columns, but also the snapdragon, one of my favourite plants in the whole game, but unfortunately we are not allowed to use him. On day 4 we unlock the cherry bomb and torchwood. I genuinely have no idea why, especially when you're meant to unlock cherry bomb near the end of Pirate Seas, but to be honest, I am not complaining. It's about time we get another fruit in the team. Anyways, after that confusion, we move on to day 5, which was actually decently difficult, but with the help of the cherry bomb, we beat it on our first attempt, along with day 6, where we unlocked this weird spiky floor thingy. Day 7 saw the return of my overpowered fruit setup, making it extremely easy, whereas day 8 was less easy, but it is a conveyor belt level, so we can just skip it. I think day 9 was the first time in this whole series the low amount of sun has actually been a problem. In all fairness, it was probably my slow reaction times that made this level feel so difficult, but after a couple of attempts we managed to beat it using, you guessed it, only kiwis. Day 10 and 11 were more easy levels, but we do actually unlock the coconut cannon. Now, I do consider myself to be a fruit expert, and for any of you who didn't know, a coconut is not a nut, so we are definitely going to be using this overpowered plant for the rest of the game. On day 13, the game forces us to produce at least 2,000 sun, and if you haven't noticed already, none of our plants can produce any sun, so unfortunately this level is impossible. Or is it? Something that I forgot about when making the rules for this challenge was the rent a plant feature. Essentially, it lets you use unlocked plants, and luckily for us, there is one fruit in the entire game that can produce sun, the solar tomato. Now, because I forgot to specify this earlier, the rules are a bit unclear. If there is a level that I think is physically impossible, I'm allowed to use the rent a plant as a last resort. So after re-rolling for ages, we finally get the solar tomato and are able to easily beat the level. Day 14 was the first plan your defense level that we've had in quite a while, and nothing was able to get past my perfectly timed coconut shots. Day 15 was the first type of this level where the zombies aren't allowed to walk over our flowers. Anyways, it was easy. Day 16 we were forced to protect these ugly ass beans. I really didn't want to keep them alive, but I guess we have to if we want to move on to Day 17, where literally all happens. So I think it's time for our daily fruit fact. Did you know the coconut tree is a member of the palm tree family and the only known living species of the genus Cocos? The term coconut can refer to the whole coconut palm, the seed of a fruit, which botanically is a trope, not a nut. On day 18 we weren't even allowed to pick our plants, so we did unlock the spiked rock, which I don't think is a fruit, but I don't think it's a plant either, so I'm not really sure what it's doing in this game. Anyways, after getting a bit distracted, day 19 was a produce sun level, so again we need some help from the solar tomato. Day 20 was another produce sun level, but unfortunately I lost the footage, so here's a recreation of what happened.
Heroes never die.
What the fuck?
we're also able to unlock the lava guava. I know he does look like that weird green ball from Wreck-It Ralph, but trust me, he is definitely a fruit. This plant only costs 75 sun, and the next cheapest thing we have is over double that price. So next time any singular zombies or maybe big hordes slip through our defences, having a cheap one-shot will be insane to utilise. And to be honest, we needed the extra firepower for day 21, where we had to produce 2,500 sun. This one level took me about 3 hours to complete. Renting the solar tomato every attempt took so long, but eventually we got the placements down and managed to beat it pretty easily. Day 22 was another plan your defense level, and although we got overran by imps, they were no match for my overpowered kiwis. Then on day 23 we had another one of these flower levels, which was easily beaten by my kiwis, leading us on to day 24, which is the penultimate level of this world. Unfortunately, it was pretty easy, and also we had to protect these fucking beans again. However, we do actually unlock a new fruit, the cherry bomb. Oh yeah, and just as a bonus challenge, I decided to beat Zomboss using only fruits as well, which surprisingly was possible, and I beat it pretty easily after a couple of attempts. Due to quite a lot of disagreements in the comment section, I think we need to reevaluate our rules. For the future, I think any plant that we can all agree is a fruit can be used. But this is still meant to be a challenge, so plants like the kernel pole and the pea shooter that I think will be too OP are off the table, whereas other plants like the pepper pole or the jalapeno are still up for debate, so let me know what you guys think down in the comments. Regardless, I'll stop waffling now because it's about time you can all enjoy part 3. Already on day 1, Wild West has introduced us to the most useful world gimmick by far, these minecarts. Essentially, they let us move plants to cover multiple rows, which is going to be insanely useful, especially in this world where there's going to be a huge ramp in difficulty. We also unlock the split pea, whose whole purpose is just to counter the prospect zombie. Fortunately though, the kiwi beasts does splash damage to all surrounding tiles, so they're not really a threat. On day 3 we encounter these pianist zombies. They cause all the zombies on the field to change lanes, but the actual scary bit is that they can tear through our plants. Basically just a remodeling of the barrel zombie from our last world. Day 4 was a conveyor belt level, but I still managed to lose that somehow, but anyways we can just skip it. Day 5 sees the return of the electric current, and we also encounter a new type of zombie. It's basically just a stronger bucket head that looks like it's holding an oven. Day 6 was our first plan your defense level of this video, which was decently difficult, however nothing could get past my quintuple coconut cannon setup. We then unlocked another useless plant for this series and sweep past day 7 using the overpowered minecarts. Day 8 was another conveyor belt level, however on day 9 we weren't allowed to pick up plants, but the game does introduce us to the icy watermelon. The only downside of course being that it cost 500 sun, but even with that extortionate price we were barely able to pass this level by sacrificing our lawnmowers as well as exploiting the minecarts. Time was key in this level, and the amount of damage that the watermelon does is insane, as well as its slowing ability, making this level possible with frame precise movements and fast reaction times. We also unlocked the lightning reed, which I'm pretty sure is not a fruit, and on day 10 we run into the biggest roadblock of the series so far, chicken zombies. For this level, they're not really an issue, but just keep that in mind for later in the video. On day 11 we weren't allowed to spend over 500 sun, so literally 2 kiwi beasts wipes out the whole level. Day 12 was another conveyor belt level, but finally we unlock another fruit, the melon pole. We have already encountered this plant in a previous video, however as a recap, the melon pole costs a whole 325 sun and he lobs projectiles at zombies doing massive splash damage. Honestly, probably the best plant we've unlocked so far. It's actually so good in fact that it caused this cow to commit suicide. Not much happened on day 14, but we do see the return of the chicken zombies. Luckily again they were no problem, but look at the amount of chickens, it is actually ridiculous. It was nice to have a break from all these difficult levels on day 15. Literally a melon pot and a kiwi beast was enough to beat this level. Day 16 was just a boring protection level, but an interesting dilemma occurs. I decided to use a plant food on the walnut that we had to protect, which made me wonder if we were allowed to use plant foods on anything that isn't a fruit. To be honest, I'm perfectly fine with exploiting pre-planted plants, but let me know what you guys think about this new rule down in the comments. Day 17 was again very easy, which was mainly because of the well-placed minecarts. However, I honestly think day 18 is the most difficult level we've had in the whole series by far, so everybody get comfy. It was a plan your defense level. Normally these are pretty easy, but the insane amount of chickens just made this level absolutely impossible. I tried every combination of every fruit and nothing seemed to be working. I think it was a combination of the low sun and the complicated minecarts that made this level so damn difficult, and also because none of my plants do a steady rate of damage. They're all very slow attackers. But after a couple of hours of trial and error, we did manage to beat it, with the electric current being the MVP. After unlocking the tool nut, we can move on to day 19, which was dead easy, along with day 20 being another conveyor belt level. Normally, I'm not the type of person to complain when given an easy option, but a whole quarter of this world has been unplayable conveyor levels, which is pretty annoying, but hopefully we'll see less in the future. Day 21 was difficult because the prospector zombies kept trampling our flowers, but other than that, it was pretty simple. Again, on day 22, we weren't allowed to pick our plants, but unfortunately, we couldn't beat this level using only fruits because of the insane amount of chickens. And just so no one's confused, these levels where I can't pick my plants don't count towards the challenge anyway. Basically, they just add a bit more difficulty and entertainment to these videos. I think because now we're approaching the end of this world, I'm used to all the zombies and also their gimmicks. I say this as day 23 seems really difficult on paper, but we managed to beat it first try. And day 24, the final hurdle for this world is a protection level. Again, I did use the plant food on the walnuts we had to protect, but the watermelon's ability is too OP, so I don't think it would have mattered anyways. Oh yeah, and on literally the last day of this world, we unlocked the icy melon, which I've only just realised is not actually his name. The winter melon is what I was meant to say the entire video, sorry guys. To be honest, I'm not sure if we're ever going to use him, because I didn't really see a slowing effect be worth an extra 175 sun, but who knows. And again, just like last video, I beat Zomboss using only fruits, and hopefully this will be possible for every single world. As with most of my other videos, we're introduced to this world's gimmick on day 1, but unlike the Wild West, it is mostly a massive hindrance. Normally in some levels there are pre-planted plants covered in ice, basically acting as a gravestone, just like in ancient Egypt. However, when the frozen plants are broken free, they become active and we can use them to help us. Now, this all sounds very useful, and for the time being it is, but you will all see later in the video the massive challenge that comes with this world gimmick. Oh yeah! And the keen-eyed amongst you might have noticed something different about the plants that I'm using. Before I started this world, I did a lot of research and actually discovered that a jalapeno is not a vegetable, but it's a fruit. Also, the comments on my last video seem to unanimously agree with me using the jalapeno, which for me is absolutely amazing because this fruit's fire trait allows it to instantly melt any frozen plants. It also does an extremely high amount of damage across an entire row for a relatively cheap price. So we will definitely be seeing this plant for the rest of the series probably. After unlocking the useless hot potato, we can move on to day 2, where again we see these ice blocks that move zombies into different lanes, but also more annoyingly the icy winds. These cold gusts freeze our plants, rendering them useless until broken. And sometimes, if there's too much wind, we can be overrun by zombies, but luckily not on this day. Day 3 was an easy conveyor belt level and day 4 was swept with mainly kiwis. However, on day 5 we encounter a new fruit that is so overpowered in this world, I'm not sure that this video would have been possible without it. Of course, I am talking about the pepper poult. Now, you might recognise him from the poll that I showed in this video earlier, and although many people think a bell pepper would be a vegetable, you lot and also Google have agreed that we're allowed to use it in this challenge because it is technically a fruit. I'm just going over all of this now, so when we do actually unlock the pepper poult, I don't have to fully explain my thought process. Well, speaking of, we do actually unlock the pepper poult on day 6, so that's going to make the entire rest of this world way more manageable. Also, please ignore those sunflowers, I definitely didn't place them. I would never cheat in this challenge. Anyways, day 7 was the first level we've had with both frozen plants and zombies. Anyways, it was easy with the help of a pepper poult. It's already coming in clutch, being the MVP of this level. Day 8 was a conveyor belt level as well as day 10. And the reason I skipped over day 9 is because it was just that easy. I forgot to mention this earlier, but the first half of this world is literally a piss take. Like, I'm not even joking. I'm pretty sure potato mines alone could beat the first 50% of this world. It's that f***ing easy. To be honest, I probably shouldn't be complaining because I know the difficulty of this world is going to come back to bite me. But when you're making a challenge video and you can beat most levels first try, you know either the game is too easy or you're just naturally good at everything you do. So in this case, it's definitely not the second option. Anyways, ignoring my rant, day 11 was actually pretty difficult, but the only problem was every single zombie is funneled down to one row. And when you have a fruit that can kill everything basically instantly, it makes the level a lot less difficult. After unlocking the charred guard, we can move on to day 12, the first plan your defense level of this video. And although this level was only one wave, the sheer amount of dodo and bucket zombies which actually made this day kind of difficult for once. Anyways, we beat it on our second attempt. Day 13 was pretty uneventful, but we do run into a gargantuan. Now, around a month ago, I probably would have struggled with this level, but after learning that the lava guava can really effectively counter this dangerous zombie, they're a lot less of a threat. On day 14, the game gives us 8 frozen sunflowers, which can easily be melted by the pepper pole. Honestly, I've been doing this challenge for so long now, I forgot what it's like to have sun producers, and what can I say, it literally made this level a cakewalk, even though we couldn't pick our own plants. Day 15 was our first protection level, which took me well over an hour to complete. The difficulty in this world, and series as a whole, is really starting to ramp up. Combine that with the overly common icy winds, and we're going to start to struggle with most of the levels from here on out. Day 16 was another conveyor belt level that had 3 gargantuas in it, but luckily we have the charred guard, which is a pretty hard counter to most singular zombies. I think day 17 is the fastest level we've ever completed. We're introduced to these really overweight mushrooms, but other than that, nothing really interesting happened. Day 18 feels like it's the 18th conveyor belt level we've had in this world, but we do actually get to see a fruit that we might unlock in the future, maybe even the far future. On day 19 we only had 3 available seed slots, but to be honest it was really easy, mainly because of the pre-placed sunflowers. On day 20 we're introduced to a new zombie, the troglodyte. They push frozen imps towards the back line, and can also push back my plants if they're given the chance. However, nothing else really happened, apart from us unlocking this boned block of ice. All my days, can I actually just play the f***ing game? Like, conveyor belt levels are fun and all, but having one every other level is just a bit ridiculous. Please, Popcat, can we just spice things up a bit? On day 22, we yet again get a sneak peek at a future fruit. However, we unlock the guacadao at literally the end of this whole game, so I'm going to explain what he does then. Other than that, this day was pretty dry, but we do run into a new type of zombie. More on him later though. Day 23 was another protection level, and yet again it was extremely easy but mainly just boring. Apart from the fact the melon pulp actually got some action this video. Because we had to produce at least 2,500 sun, on day 24 we had to use the rent plant feature again, getting some help from the goat, the soda tomato. And for all of you who are wondering, don't worry, I will unlock this plant soon. It's just taken me a while to get all the seed packets. Also, I discovered a cool trick to help me beat this level more easily. Using plant food on any of my fruits that I have in my hotbar will instantly negate any recharge time. This means that whenever there's a big horde of zombies, I can just spam soda tomatoes and get way more sun than normal. This trick is extremely useful, especially for long recharge or instant plants. Day 25 was another plan your defense level, and the formation on my plants ended up taking the shape of a certain body part. Day 26 was very easy but also very long. Nothing notable happened apart from we unlock a new plant that I can't pronounce the name of, but it's not a fruit and we've already seen it before, so who really cares. Day 27 was a protection level, and again it was monotonous and simple. Apart from the final wave where the game just decides to throw 2 gargantuas at you for no reason. I don't know why, but I found them really hard to counter, especially because they were in the same lanes as our endangered plants. Like, I would play a whole 5 minutes of this level and lose to the last zombie multiple times. But other than that, nothing really happened, which leads us on to day 28. Finally, an interesting protection level. It's great to see the coconut cannon actually be used in this video, but with the help of some lawnmowers, this day wasn't even that chaotic. And finally, day 29, last and probably least, we weren't even allowed to pick our plants. This meant we were forced to use some non-fruit scum plants, just like the walnut. I'm joking, I love the walnut. But seriously, this game needs to let me have some free will. There's a big reason why I don't want to use the stunnion, so in the future, can you please not make me? Unfortunately for this world, I couldn't beat zombies using only fruits. It took me at least 30 plants to get my first pepper pulp, so for this level at least, it is definitely impossible. During the 2 weeks where I was off on holiday, I've actually done a lot of off-camera grinding. This means that before day 1 even starts, we unlock 2 new fruits. The brand new Dragon Brute and the previously seen Soda Tomato. To be honest, they weren't that difficult to unlock. I only had to play 100 games of Arena, but regardless, it was definitely worth the effort. The Soda Tomato is probably the best plant we have, allowing us to actually farm sun. And the Dragon Brute is pretty busted, I can't lie, so he's going to be making appearances all throughout the rest of this series. With that being said, days 1 and 2 were swept easily with the help of our new fruits, as well as this video's world gimmick. These pre-placed tiles allow us to get extra sun by putting our fruits on top of them, which is pretty boring, but it is always helpful to have extra sun, especially in a challenge like this. On day 3 we had our first conveyor belt level, and we were actually able to beat it using only fruits, because this world's gemian plant is luckily the lava guava. On day 4 we encounter these shovel zombies, who can be easily countered by a kiwi beast and other lobbing plants. They're more of a nuisance than anything, because they sometimes throw our plants backwards, making them be easily eaten. But other than that, day 4 was pretty standard. Day 5 was another conveyor belt level, but we do actually run into a new plant. via key, or more formally known as the autonomous catapulting ejectomatic emitter. Also, that design is amazing, I just love his smile. But the best thing about the key is he's actually based on a fruit that I can't pronounce the name of and looks a bit like Shy Guy, so I'll gladly add him to the team. He's also great for dealing with those shovel zombies from earlier, which means, at least for this world, he's going to be one of the MVPs. Day 6 probably has the coldest formation of fruits set up so far in this series, but even better, we unlock via key. Day 7 not only sees the return of the electric current, but also a new umbrella zombie. She's able to block damage from all lobbing plants, but again, this zombie is no match for my kiwi beasts. On day 8 we weren't allowed to pick our fruits, and were forced to use a new plant because the Aki couldn't handle the umbrella zombies. However, on the plus side, during day 9 we endeavorously discover the Endurian, the 4th new fruit of this video, and I know he looks and acts like a nut, but trust me, I've actually eaten a durian before, and fair play to the designers at PopCap, because they managed to perfectly recreate that fruit's traits into their game. Day 10 was another fairly basic level, which was easily beaten by the newly unlocked squad of fruits. And yet again, we actually unlocked the fruit the day after it was introduced. On day 11 we run into these pretty fast and tanky bug zombies, but luckily they can be easily beaten with the Dragon Brute. However, I think day 12 marks the biggest difficulty spike in the whole series by far. I'm pretty sure this is the first ever level I failed on wave 1. Not only do we have to deal with 3 gargantuas, but also to produce 5,000 sun. But honestly, I think the biggest struggle in this level was mainly my fault. Now, if I wanted to, I could just bring overpowered premium plants into every level and sweep them easily. However, I'm not going to do that because I'm actually trying to make some good content. But when I picked it so that none of my fruits could do damage to the umbrella zombie, trust me, it made this level a lot more difficult. Anyways, we managed to get the timings down and move on to day 13. Of course, another conveyor belt level, but at least this one had the melon pole in it. On day 14 we weren't allowed to pick our plants, but luckily the game gives us 2 fruits to use, which is great for us because the lava guava can kill any zombies that the Aki can't. Days 15 and 16 served as some quite nice and well deserved breaks, as they consisted of a piss easy protection level with a final wave looking like this, and a lackluster conveyor belt level. And the same could also be said for day 17, but we do discover a new type of imp, which is pretty cool I guess. Jesus Christ, I've had my break now, can I actually just play a difficult level for once? Speaking of, day 19 was actually pretty hard, but only because this zombie just phased through my plants. But other than that, it was pretty manageable, probably because the excessive amount of sun tiles were extremely helpful and the main reason I was able to get my rows of fruits down. Day 20 had a setup of sun tiles that I think were designed with the electric current in mind. Imagine you're a zombie and you see this, like what the f are you meant to do? On day 21 we weren't allowed to pick our plants, but run into the toadstool, an animal based plant. Now what I think about it, that could actually make a good series. Let me know what you guys think about that down in the comments. Yet again, we weren't allowed to pick our plants on day 22, but we were introduced to a new world gimmick. Like, I'm not quite sure why they've added it so late on in this world. But regardless, we beat the level and move on to day 23, that for some reason has a gargantua on the first wave. Now, this level was pretty difficult, mainly because of the sheer amount of zombies, but I don't know who at EA are designing these levels because the first wave is the most difficult for some reason. Days 24 and 25 fall victim of the same pattern, both being way too short and getting easily swept by kiwi beasts and melons. To be honest, the same can be said for day 26, just minus the melons. Also, I'm not sure why, but I kept using this dragon kiwi setup. Can you blame me though? It is just so overpowered. But the only other interesting thing that happened on day 26 was that we run into this skull zombie, who's going to be a massive issue later on in the video. And here we are later on in the video. It's day 27 and what a surprise, the skull zombie is back. Now what this old wanker does is use his anime powers to just obliterate our plants. And yeah, sure, he can be taken out pretty easily with long range plants, but my main damage dealer can only hit enemies 2 tiles in front of him, and I don't really have any cheap long range plants either, So yeah, he is a pretty big threat, but as always, nothing a literal bomb can't handle. Day 28 was another one of these gimmick levels, and although they're very fun, they are just too easy. Day 29 was a really difficult level, consisting of 2 gargantuas and a bunch of other difficult zombies. However, the Aki is just too good in this world, as well as some help from my kiwi beasts and a lawnmower, we managed to swiftly beat this level. Woof, okay, now we're in the end game, we need to lock in, because these final 3 levels are all extremely difficult, even including the zombie boss battle. On day 30, the most important third of the field is taken up by these moss colonies, leading us to just spam kiwi beasts and pray for the best. For this level, I didn't really have a tactic, it was mainly RNG based, but I was luckily able to beat it after a couple of attempts. On day 31, we only had access to the Achaean Endurian, leaving us with no easy option to get rid of any umbrella zombies. Oh, and what a surprise, a whole fucking column of them just appear out of nowhere. I think for the first time ever of me playing Plants vs Zombies, I had to actually stall out of the wave so the lawnmowers would get more value. But we managed to barely squeak past, with the Endurian pulling his weight and actually coming in clutch this time. Like with most of the worlds we've seen so far, on day 1 of Far Future we're introduced to its world gimmick. These neon power tiles make our plant food even more overpowered, doing way more damage spread across multiple lanes. Also, some off-camera seed grinding allowed me to unlock the Blastberry Vine. It attaches to and protects other plants, lobbing its splash damaging fruit at opposing zombies. Honestly, I'm really grateful you guys kept suggesting me to use this plant, because not only does it have a sick design, but it can easily take out these jetpack zombies that we're going to be seeing constantly throughout the rest of the video. After unlocking the laser beam, we can move on to day 2, which is easily wiped out with some help from our dragon brutes. We also do run into these shield zombies, but luckily they won't be a problem later in the video because I have a very good counter for these mini mechs. Day 3 was another cakewalk, however on day 4 we're introduced to a new type of level, only exclusive to this world. Basically, lots of extra sun drops from the sky, and if tapped when purple, they'll explode and kill zombies. However, if I wait for them to reach the ground, I get the sun as normal. So it's like any normal level, but just without any help from the solar tomato. Day 5 was carried by the Achaean, but we do run into these really tanky traffic cone robot zombies though. Now, although we weren't allowed to pick our plants on day 6, we actually do unlock a new fruit, this annoying orange. He's basically just a really fat ginger, kind of reminds me of someone.
Yep, you're banned.
Look, he even takes up half of the thumbnail. But to be honest, I can't really hate on this guy because he is amazing at taking down stronger zombies. On day 8, we had the first conveyor belt level of the world, and also easily cleared day 9 with this monstrous fruit setup. Another thing that happened on day 9 is that now, for the 3rd time this video, we unlock a new fruit, the EM Peach. Honestly, he's only going to be useful mainly for the far future, but to be fair, he is also the cheapest usable plant that we've unlocked so far, so I'm very happy to add him to the team. For anyone who doesn't know, the EM Peach is able to stall and disable any robot zombies, and honestly, I don't blame you if you didn't know that, because neither did I. So that's why you guys are only going to see usage of him later in the video. Anyways, day 10 is when this world starts to get a little bit more tricky. This disco ball that spawns disco zombies was just really overwhelming, and it did take me a couple attempts to beat this level, but luckily the dragon brute is just so overpowered. Day 11 was a one wave piss easy plan your defense level, and this setup absolutely rips through the zombies. These two gingers make an insane duo. For anyone who's already watched my previous fruits only videos, you'll know that my #1 counter to gargantuas has always been the lava guava. Bearing in mind we ran into 3 on day 12, but luckily we were barely able to squeeze past and move on to day 13, where we encounter this football mech zombie. He's basically just a remodeled version of the troglodyte from part 4 of this series, but instead of pushing ice blocks, he pushes our plants backwards, sending them flying off the whole map. Annoyingly, we can't use the plant that we unlocked on this day, which is the Infinite, who's actually one of my favourites in the whole game, but regardless, we move on to day 14, which is surprisingly difficult because of the limited amount of sun we can spend. But yet again, for about the 1000th time this series, the Kiwi Beast comes in clutch and absolutely steamrolls this level. On day 15, we have to protect these 3 endangered oranges, and I'm not sure if you guys have noticed this or not, but I'm pretty stupid, so it's difficult for my brain to multitask on like 5 different things at once. I kept losing this level to the most insignificant things that I just wasn't paying attention to, but I eventually got the tactics down and was able to win with the help of the Endurian. On day 16 we had another conveyor belt level, but we were actually able to beat it with only citrons. This plant is literally the poster boy for the far future. He shows up constantly throughout these types of levels, including the Zomboss battle at the end of the video. On day 17 we have a specialised level centering the magnifying glass. This level was really easy and allowed me to use the Infinite, so I'm not complaining. Never in the 4 months of me being a PVC2 YouTuber would I ever think a level would have to be this complicated. On day 18 we had to produce 6,000 sun. What am I even going to buy with 6,000 sun? Also, I'm pretty sure you lot would know this by now, but I only have one sun producer who isn't 6,000 sun amazing, but does the job in most scenarios, which unfortunately means such a high sun quota just isn't possible with only using the solar tomato. But maybe we could use not only the solar tomato and combine it with another plant, the unsung hero of this video, the EM Peach. As stated earlier in the video, the EM Peach is able to temporarily stun robot zombies. Combine this with its low cost and its fast reload time, and we're able to infinitely stall out a slow moving mech. And coincidentally, the last zombie on the last wave of this level happens to be exactly what we need. Using the EM Peach's stun combined with the Kiwi Beast's knockback, we're able to spam solar tomatoes with the previously gathered sun on this one singular zombie. I was probably farming this one zombie for around half an hour, but you know what, if it works, it works. I'm not going to sit here and complain about my own tactics. On day 19, we had another one of these exploding sun levels, where I also discovered that the EM Peach absolutely counters the Disco Ball Zombie and this world's Gargantuas. Anyways, on day 20, we're introduced to the Starfruit, who we can hopefully unlock later in the series. Day 21 follows a similar storyline to day 18, but instead of having to produce 6,000 sun, we only have to produce 5,000. Much more manageable, right? Well, you would be, but we also have the hindrance of only being allowed 16 plants on the field at a time. Honestly, this didn't make much of an impact on the level, but the only thing that actually did impact the level was this disco zombie, spawning waves of jetpack zombies giving me an insane amount of sun. Also, I thought this wave was the final wave, but luckily, I don't think the cherry bomb is scared of hordes of zombies. Day 22 was another plan your defense level, and again it was destroyed, but by a slightly different ginger duo this time. Day 23 consisted of a fairly basic level, apart from the fact only a few plants could be on the field. Also, we were only allowed to spend 2,000 sun, and what a surprise, my dumb ass forgot about this, so it did take me a couple of attempts to beat this level. Anyways, we move on to day 24, the last proper level of this video. It was another one of these sun levels, but just with everything we've seen in the far future ramped up to maximum difficulty. Imagine more zombies, stronger zombies, and waves up begin so fast you have no time to prepare. Although it was a bit of a struggle, we have come quite far in this video, and the free fruits that I unlocked in this world massively helped me to counter any combination of zombies in this level. That being said, the biggest challenge of this world is still upon us. However, we did manage to beat Zomboss again with only fruits. Before this world has even started, we run into the first major obstacle of this whole video. The Dark Age's main gimmick is that no sun drops from the sky. Now, in normal playthroughs, this isn't much of an issue, especially because during this world, we unlock many mushroom plants. However, unfortunately for us, we need to be a little bit more creative. Other than the 75 sun that we're gifted at the beginning of every level, how do we actually get some? Well, the short-term answer is simply these gravestones that drop 100 sun when broken and spawn before and during most levels. My initial plan for breaking these gravestones and actually getting some sun in return was the squash, who by technicality is actually a fruit, and also you guys didn't seem to mind me using him, but unfortunately plan A miserably failed. The squash can only deal damage to attacking units, but nevertheless it's still a pretty useful cheap instant plant. Also, every time I use him I get to play this clip.
Relax, I'll handle it. I am the angry pumpkin.
So in my opinion, it was 100 gems well spent. Now, if you're actually watching this video so far and not just playing it as background noise, you would have noticed a new fruit pop up multiple times. Of course, I'm talking about the imp pear. What this fruit does is turn any basic zombies into imps when eaten, but even better, killing any imps when eaten, stunning all zombies in that same lane. Because this plant has such a fast reload time and is also completely free, for the first bit of this world, we're actually able to only use imp pears and spend no sun at all. However, that's not very entertaining, and I can't afford to lose any more viewers. So instead, I came up with the plan of using the lava guava's plant food to break these gravestones, giving us 100 sun and access to the solar tomato. This allowed me to actually get quite substantial amounts of sun and build up some really solid defense, even in these first few levels. With these newfound tactics in place, Night 1, 2 and 3 were all taken care of with ease. Even though Night 3 had 0 sun gravestones, we still were able to beat it because of the excessive amount of plant food in this world. Night 4 was the first conveyor belt level of this world, introducing us to a bunch of new mushrooms, even the one from Mario Kart. On night 5 we run into the Jester zombie, who's able to return to sender any of our plants' projectiles. This zombie massively counters quite a lot of our plants, but luckily plants like the Impair and Kiwi Beets that don't shoot projectiles are able to easily counter this zombie. That being said, the Jester does constantly appear all throughout this world and is actually quite a big threat later on in this video, but for the time being he is manageable. Night 6 was a plan your defense level that, what a surprise, was ripped apart by the Jester zombie. It wasn't a difficult level, only being one wave long, but it does show the insane power that the Jester actually has. But anyways, after that we unlock whatever this thing is. Honestly, whoever at PopCap designed this thing must have been running so low on creativity. Like, generally I'm nowhere near an artist, but still could have come up with something better than this goofy yellow Fall Guys character. Anyways, on night 7 no sun graveyard spawn, meaning we have to beat this entire level using only impairs. We're also introduced to these new extremely tanky zombies, but luckily they're no problem for the impair. On night 8 we're not allowed to pick up plants, so we make use of the sun shroom, who is extremely overpowered, especially in this world. Another clean sweep on night 9, but we're actually introduced to this world's second gimmick. In some levels these potions pop out of the ground, making zombies stronger, faster, and just better in general. In any normal playthrough this would be quite a big threat, but these potions have little to no effect on the impair. It's another conveyor belt level on night 10, and the first time we see the Dark Ages Gargantua. All things considered, we're halfway through this world already, and everything's been pretty standard, so I'm not really sure why you guys were so worried about this. And I've already spoken too soon. The first huge difficulty ramp of this world starts on night 11, and it's not because of my butterfingers mistiming instant fruits, but instead the wizard zombie. These hairy twats are the bane of my existence. They turn my fruits into these fat retarded sheep who just stand still and eat the rock floor somehow. Luckily my strategies don't revolve around this zombie too much, mainly dealing with them using the squash, impair plant food, and of course the lawnmowers. Anyways, the second huge difficulty ramp of this world was on night 12. It's our first protection level of the Dark Ages, but instead of having an actual good endangered plant like the starfruit or the citron, we had to protect this fucking shitty little bitch twat fucking dickhead mushroom. Sorry, my bad, I forgot, this is a PG channel. Anyways, the reason I found this level so difficult is because there's just absolute chaos happening all the time. I've mentioned this a lot before, but my tiny smooth brain just can't focus on all these different things happening. And I'm also not good at this game by any means, so when I have to pay attention to the impair cooldowns, gravestones, incoming zombies, mushrooms killing themselves, and also the amount of sun I have, I think it's quite understandable why I get so overwhelmed. However, I did eventually develop a strategy which, I can't lie, is actually pretty decent. Firstly, I had to deal with the wizard zombies, who spawned in massive numbers. Luckily, placing any dragon brutes as the backline of defense meant that they wouldn't be turned into sheep, and focusing my impair plant food on the wizards with some occasional help from the squash meant they weren't as big a threat as I originally thought. Also, a feature of this game that we saw back in ancient Egypt is that imps will often spawn from gravestones, and using the solar tomato on these big groups of little zombies helped me to get loads of sun. And all of these tactics led us to eventually beating it after longer than I'm willing to admit. Anyways, on night 13 we had a conveyor belt level that really opened my eyes to how god awful the peanut is. Honestly, I feel bad for anyone who's ever had to use this plant for whatever reason. After this, on night 4 we had to produce 5,000 sun, with the only added help being the excessive amount of sun gravestones. Now, I could sit here for 3 minutes and explain to you lot in detail the specific tactics and complicated mechanics that I used to beat this level. However, I would be lying. I literally just attempted this level over and over and over again. Although it was really difficult, I managed to get a fluke attempt after about an hour and somehow beat it by the skin of my teeth. So I'm not going to relive the trauma that this level gave me and swiftly move on to night 15, where I bring back this insane electric current setup. To be fair, the wizard caused me a bit of trouble on this level, but still nothing that this overpowered defense can't take care of. After unlocking the magnet shroom, we move on to night 16, where we encounter a new type of zombie. It's this fat ginger king who looks really familiar. I can't lie, he looks like he's had one too many quesadillas. Anyways, he turns regular zombies into bucketheads and knights, which can be a bit overwhelming. However, the dragon brute hard counters this guy, so we're in the clear for now. Night 17 was another one of these gimmick levels that, surprisingly, was pretty easy. We were actually gifted so much plant food and sun, I was able to make use of the winter melon, which honestly I did not expect from a world like this. We were barely able to beat night 18, another irrelevant level because yet again we weren't even allowed to pick our plants. Anyways, we move on to night 19, the last proper level of this world. This time we have to protect these 3 magnet shrooms who are basically placed on the front line of our lawn. It did genuinely take me a long time to beat this last level, but that's mainly because of my incompetence and not the actual level itself. All you need to know is that the squash was good at squashing, pretty standard stuff. And just like that, the 7th world in this series has yet again been beaten with only fruits. Before I start this video, I need to tell you a lot about the off-camera grinding that I've been doing. Mainly thanks to your guys' comments. By playing Arena, I was able to unlock a new fruit, the electric eel. I mean peel, sorry, my bad. Anyways, I didn't know what this guy did, and to be honest, still don't really. But just imagine if that boomerang plant had electric powers, and it's basically the same thing. Also, his plant food super looks insane, but you'll see that in action later on in this video. One last thing though, I'm pretty sure bananas are fruits and not berries or vegetables or whatever else my comments are saying. And even if they are berries, I don't really see an issue, and hopefully you guys don't either. So yes, I will be using him, and maybe even another banana that we'll unlock later on in this series. Now, with the boring stuff out of the way, days 1 and 2 were extremely standard, showcasing this world's main gimmick. The sound and visual cues that play every level actually impact the behaviour of the different zombie types in this world. This basically makes RNG an even bigger issue throughout this video, because certain zombies increase in speed, strength, and even unlock new abilities based on the random background music which is playing. For example, the punk zombie is extremely basic, really only being visually different to a normal zombie. However, when his music starts playing, he's able to kick our fruits off the whole map, exactly like the football mech from the far future. As well as this, he's also faster and harder to deal with in general, making this world a lot tougher than it needs to be. Every new zombie in the Neon Mixtape tour also will get different buffs depending on the music, but I'll explain them in detail when we encounter these zombies. Anyways, day 5 was the first protection level on this world, and to be honest, it wasn't anything special, but we do unlock a new plant, the celery stalker. What the whoa, okay, let's just skip past that guy, I guess. Day 6 was another conveyor belt level, but we do actually run into one of those world-specific zombies I was waffling about earlier. I'm pretty sure it's that one character from the Trolls movie, but it could also just be a pride parade. I don't really know, to be honest. Anyways, this zombie is just so annoying. She's basically a walnut equivalent for zombies because all the dudes behind her are protected by this weird particle effect. Also, anything she touches will vanish into thin air, which for one reminds me about your dad and is also quite costly when sun is limited. After sweeping past day 7, we run into this insane horde of zombies, which we somehow managed to defeat, mainly thanks to the overpowered Wintermelon. As with most of the other worlds, these early levels weren't too tricky, with days 9, 10 and even 11 all being levels where we couldn't pick our plants. And even day 12 wasn't an issue, which is pretty lucky considering that we ran into another new type of zombie and this world's gargantua on the same day. However, the same could not be said for this next level, which I think holds the record for most time spent on a single day so far in this series. I'm talking about day 13, a plan your defense level. The reason this level was just so difficult is the limited sun we're given and the insanely overwhelming horde of zombies. The amount of setups that I used that just didn't work is absolutely ridiculous. I think I was overcomplicating this level, trying to pair up different combinations of fruit and see if they would work. I was genuinely so desperate I tried cheating by using a non-fruit plant, but somehow that didn't even work and I just lost faster than normal. Honestly, it just came down to trial and error, and I bet you wouldn't have guessed it, but the plain old dragon brute just beat this level by himself. I urge any of you guys watching to try this level with my restrictions, just so you lot can see my pain and how difficult this level really is. Anyways, after beating this basically impossible level on our 1000th attempt, we have a well-deserved break on day 14, as we weren't even allowed to pick our plants. However, now that we're actually halfway through this world, most of the levels from here on out actually require a little bit of brain power. On day 15, we had to protect this whole row of disgusting vegetable plants, but I couldn't even do that due to the sheer amount of things happening on screen. I think I've said this in every single episode of this series, but my pea-sized brain will get distracted by the smallest thing, and having to multitask, especially on chaotic levels like this one, is just always an issue for me. However, as always, we eventually managed to suss out this level and beat it surprisingly easily, even with some help from the rarely seen Citron. Anyways, day 16 was another conveyor level, but we do run into the breakdancer zombie on day 17. He's not an issue for the time being, only speeding up the waves by kicking his teammates closer to our fruits. However, yet again, the dragon brute and the impaired plant food is able to reliably counter this Richard Watterson wannabe. I don't really know why, but day 18 was only one wave long, making it extremely easy and boring. But the same could not be said for day 18, another conveyor belt level where we actually encounter a new fruit. It's the electric blueberry, a plant I honestly didn't know existed before recording this video. His main attack is basically a copy-paste of Lightning Reed's plant food. Also, his attack speed is pretty slow, as well as costing a hefty 250 sun. I don't think he'll be very viable in a challenge like this. To be honest, if we do ever unlock this fruit, he probably won't get a lot of game time, which is a bit unfortunate, but his attack power is just a bit underwhelming. It's exactly what I would have said until I saw this happen. I wish you guys could have seen my live reaction, because honestly my jaw dropped. I had no clue, but apparently this fruit can just one-shot a Gargantua. And I don't know why none of you told me this earlier. After finding this out, I wanted to unlock him as soon as possible. However, he's stuck behind a paywall, which is against my rules and also out of budget. I know it's annoying, but I think paying for plants will just make this challenge a bit too easy, which is the opposite of what I want. But at least he got a little mention in this video, unlike some of the other premium fruit plants. Day 20 was another level that I actually struggled with, but whenever I'm in doubt, I just spam Dragon Brutes, and luckily we were able to beat this level after a couple of attempts and move on to day 21, obviously, which actually wasn't too difficult. The issue was getting a decent early defense in place. However, when we managed to get it down, this level was fairly simple. Day 22 is another conveyor belt level, where we actually run into a new type of zombie, and I can't lie, this guy's art style is pretty sick. This Bob Ross looking zombie spawns in these pixelated enemies, and honestly, I've got no clue what they do apart from looking and sounding absolutely awesome. Anyways, this day was pretty easy, along with the next couple of levels. I'm not sure why, maybe the arcade zombie just isn't very powerful, but there seemed to be quite a significant dip in difficulties for these next few levels, with day 25 only being one wave long for whatever reason. Anyways, this video has taken far too long to make as is, so let's just speedrun through this last bit of the world. Days 26 and 27 were both gimmick levels, consisting of a protection and conveyor belt one. Anyway, these days were both pretty standard, with the general strategy consisting of Kiwi Beast clearing swarms and spamming as many plants as possible on the conveyor level. We're gonna swiftly move on to day 28, which was absolutely insane. The amount of zombies in this level is the most I've ever seen throughout this entire playthrough, especially with the sheer quantity of arcade zombies and how many minions they spawn. This level was extremely tough, but yet again, it seems like whenever we're in a dire situation, the Dragon Brute somehow pulls through, and we managed to barely beat this level through the skin of our teeth. Days 29 and 30 were essentially the same thing. Insane hordes of zombies, but with Gargantuas this time. Surprisingly, the Citron came in really handy, being able to take down any bulky zombies. But of course, these levels were mostly carried by the Dragon Brute. This guy is just overpowered. On day 31, we sadly weren't allowed to pick our plants, but the game does gift us the electric blueberry for one final time. But this does mean that we were able to beat the entirety of the Neon Mixtape tour using only fruits. Unfortunately, we've reached the point in which this series has had to come to an abrupt ending. For those of you who haven't seen my community tab, basically I lost full access to my account as well as all the progress within it. This literally happened right in the middle of recording and editing for the Jurassic Marsh, so basically I wasted loads of time making a useless intro and thumbnail. I know that is quite annoying, especially for me, but it's not the end of the world. I can always make different types of content. I'm very grateful that you guys watched all the way to the end of this so-called movie, but it's more or less just a compilation of all my other videos. So I decided to just whack on a tier list at the end of this video because why not? I probably could have uploaded it as its own separate video, but I think it looks cooler if this timestamp is over an hour long. I promise when my exams are finally over, I will start consistently uploading, but you guys have just got to be patient, I guess. Thanks again for all of the support on this series. I would have never thought 1,000 subscribers would be possible, let alone 22,000 or however much I'm on. Anyways, as a final send-off, please stick around and enjoy this last bit of content from beating Plants vs Zombies 2 using only fruits. Okay, boom, here we are. We've got the highly awaited fruits only tier list. So obviously the bottom of the bottom we have any plant that is not a fruit. I'm sorry if I missed a fruit or something. This guy could probably be a fruit, I don't know. Yeah, let's just get rid of them. Yeah, that's better, that's better. Okay, so I've split all the plants into two categories. Ones that I have used and ones that I haven't. But I'll probably have to go into more detail on these lot because you guys have never actually seen them before. But let me just run through all the tiers quickly. So we've got like the basic tiers, so like A, B, C, F, all of that. They basically just mean what they say. So obviously unusable or like barely ever used. Not great, alright, pretty good. Like lots of usage rate. The best in the entire series and my favourite as well. To be an S tier, like if I said fruits only series, like what plant comes into your mind? That would be iconic basically. I probably wasted enough time as is, so let's just get into it, I guess. We'll start with the non-premiums, I guess. Also, I'm not going to be basing this on like all of Plants vs Zombies, like just my series. So for instance, like Cherry Bomb is like in all of Plants vs Zombies is easily an iconic plant, yeah? But in my series, not so much, so it probably wouldn't go as high as there. These are like, obviously this is like my personal preference, but it's probably just like going to be based off usage rate and like the fun of using it. Like banana launcher, I've never actually used it, but I really wanted to because it's just like, it's a fun plant to use basically. Start with Pirate Seas, because that's literally first. Okay, I think Cherry Bomb, like for 150 some, also power creep in this game, is just like not amazing anymore. PVZ1, yeah, probably like one of my favourite plants, and also like cool design, cool concept, all of that. Realistically, there are just better fruits and better insta-kills in this game, especially for 150 some, but we do unlock him really early on, so I guess, yeah, I do like it. I like Cherry Bomb, who doesn't? But I'm gonna obviously rate him relatively to everyone else, so we need like a foundation to start with, and I think that's kind of fair. Coconut Cannon. Okay, when did this guy ever... I can't lie. Okay, this might be harsh, but like, when did I ever use Coconut Cannon that he naturally just fit into the level? I've never once been like, oh yeah, this level Coconut Cannon would be great for. No, I would like force myself to use him only for like content reasons. I like the design and he is kind of fun to play, but he's literally like a pea shoot. He's like doesn't even do that much damage. I'm pretty sure he can't even one-shot a bucket head. And also 400 some for like a way worse banana launcher. It's just... okay, I'm going to put him there because like he is quite fun to use, and I like the name, Coconut Cannon. It's a good name. I'll start with normal melon, because winter melon's like the like evolved version of him, I guess. And this guy... Thing is, if I had sun other than soda tomato, if I had a good way, a stable way, like a steady flow of sun, then I would probably use him so much. But he didn't pop up that much in the series. Like, yeah, he is really good, especially like for the cost, but I just never used him all that often. He's definitely better than Cherry Bomb, but I'm just gonna put him there for now, so I can put Winter Melon there. Like, honestly, one of the best plants in the game, but just for my series, he didn't really fit in like my play style, I guess. I would rather have like loads of little plants and just like 3 winter melons and then like a couple dragon brutes, but still, he's kind of OP. I wouldn't say he's highly used. Obviously, good design, fun to use, and extremely overpowered when like you actually can protect him. So I think 8 is, yeah, pretty good. Okay, this guy for Frostbite Caves, yeah, good. But every other world, when did I ever use him? The cooldown and cost for this plant, he's just not usable. Obviously, he popped up here and there. The level was super easy, and I wanted to just include him because I felt a bit bad. Realistically, he's nothing higher than bottom of C tier. He's bordering on this line. But I'll leave him here for now, because I might change it later. Okay, now we're getting into the good fruits. Okay. This is the thing, I don't want to put him in my favourite yet, so then you guys actually want to like watch to the end of the video and see what my favourite is. He probably is though. If not, I'd put him in iconic just because I have such a like strong bias towards this guy. I don't know why. Like, he's not even that good. Yeah, alright design. I don't know the name, Aki. Like, I'm probably even saying it wrong. I don't know. It's just something about this just little guy. This dude, this little... I don't even know what... He's not even a fruit. I know he is a fruit, but he doesn't even look like a fruit. He's got like petals as feet or something. But I don't know, iconic. Like, I did, yeah. I used him a lot, but that's just because I was biased towards him and I really liked him for some reason. I'll put him there for now, and I might move him up there, but that's like going to change maybe as we go. Okay. Endurian. Basically, the eBay version of Walnut. But to be honest, like, yeah, I used him a fair bit. Maybe, yeah, probably more than Wintermelon. Because, like, looking down at the rest of this list, like, I didn't really have any other forms of protection. Like, okay, maybe this, like, this Blackberry Vine. Apart from him, maybe, like, I didn't really have any other ways to protect, like, plants like a Wintermelon. I didn't use him that much, but he is quite, I like his design, I like the concept. And I think it's a cool fruit in real life as well. In like the durian, that's just a cool name as well. So I'll leave him B for now. Just like solid plant in general. Okay. Thing is with Citron, is I actually really like I really like him, especially in Garden Warfare. I think I used to main him quite a lot. I like the design, he's fun to use. He's just a cool guy. But is he on par with Melonpole? Realistically, no. I'm going to put him top of C tier because like he didn't get a lot of use. And he was mainly popping up in like plan your defense levels when the game gave me loads of sun. Yeah, in a normal playthrough, he might be useful against like Gargantuas or something, but you're never gonna like really use him. He's not a standout option for like any situation, to be honest. Okay, this guy, I forgot his name. Something EM Peach, I think. Yeah, 25 sun, the cheapest, well, the second cheapest plant I unlocked in the entire series. But when you're only useful in one world, maybe like modern day as well, you are unusable in like 90% of the game. So you're not gonna really get any game time, are you? Also, I literally forgot that I unlocked him and I didn't use him until like day 20 of Far Future. Out of all of the story mode plants, probably the like least used out of all of them. I can say that with certainty, to be honest. Also, he just looks really goofy, like he's just a little orange ball. I'd rather have an ice cabbage or whatever his name is. That's literally a better option, and it costs less, and it's a faster recharge time, probably. Probably the worst of the worst. He would be bottom of F tier, but there's no one else in there yet. Okay, Guacadole, I never really used him. I know he popped up here and there. I think in Frostbite Caves level, I used him a bit, but I like the idea, yeah, and I didn't use him that much, so I can't really judge, but 75 sun, not a lot of damage dealt, and also he's just like a shitty lawnmower, I guess. But I like avocados in real life. I like the name Guacadole. It's a good pun, so I'll leave him in B tier, but he's quite good in other playthroughs, and like if you're actually good at the game, you can use him well, but this is not a normal playthrough, and I'm not good at the game, so he might just have to stay in B tier, to be honest. Okay, this guy's iconic. I'm sorry. You cannot like probably the best name in all of in my opinion, in the entire not series franchise. Like Squall, it's just perfect. Like 50 sun does the job. Funny guy. Funny meme about him. He's just a squash. He's an icon. And also, like, I don't really think a squash is a fruit, but Google says so, and you guys don't really seem to care anyways. Like, when someone says Plants vs Zombies, I probably think of, like, pea shooter, sunflower, and then, like, this guy. So, these two are, like, contending for my favourite, to be honest. But I'm gonna leave them for now. Okay, also, I don't want to end on all of these plants that I've never used, because realistically none of them are going to be that high up, so I'm just going to get them off the list quickly now. Okay, banana launcher, probably like out of all of these lot, my favourite, just because I have actually used him before, just not in the series. And who doesn't like bananas and who doesn't like missiles? Like, it's a perfect combination. I think he's probably not as good as the winter melon, but just a better design and concept in my opinion. There's just something about him, just his aura. Okay, straw burst, I think. I might have to like look up what these guys do, but I remember him having a sick plant food, and just for that he's going right there. Also, strawberries are probably my favourite fruit in real life, other than like mangoes, to be honest. I don't know, I've got quite a sweet tooth, so I like strawberries. This guy, Jack-o'-lantern, honestly no clue what he does. Genuinely no clue. But before this series started, I did like research all of these plants, and I remember this guy just like being really mediocre. Like, I'm pretty sure he's cheap, and he might be an instant plant, or he might do something else. It doesn't really stand out to me. Like, yeah, cool Halloweeny design, but it's Halloween for one day of the year. Like, you're not getting much game time realistically. Okay, we have another plant that actually costs money, so that just automatically makes me like him less. Also, he's really low skill. Like, yeah, he is Apple Mort, I think it's called. He's like a better Horning Thistle, basically. Yeah, he is objectively good, and I would have used him a lot, especially on like levels with lots of hordes. There's no skill involved. At least like with Coconut Cannon, there's a bit of like tactics, but this guy, you just place him anywhere and he'll just auto aim onto like the weakest zombie, I'm pretty sure. But cool design. I like apples. I don't think like I don't actually use him, so I don't know how good he'd be, but I'm pretty sure he'd be better than a Coconut Cannon. So I'll just leave him in this like kind of middle area. Pomegranate. Okay, I actually did use this plant quite a lot. I was really close to unlocking it. Probably in Big Wave Beach I would have actually unlocked it because it's a Cedium plant. But I don't know why I wasted so much time on this really awful plant. What he does is he leaves his like seeds on the floor and they do damage. But like there's no point because they do like no damage. Also, I remember him having like a really short reload time, so you could like cover the entire lawn in these seeds. But in my series, I don't have enough sun to just constantly spam units, so I think not unusable, but like probably if I did unlock him, he'd probably be used in like 1 or 2 levels, only for like the content again, just for a bit of variety. Olive Pit. Okay, I don't know what this guy does, so I'm just gonna come back to him. Forgot this person's name, but I know he acts as a banana launcher, so that automatically makes me like him. I'm gonna put him above the melon pulp because also he acts. It's like a 2-in-1. You get a protection plant and you get a banana launcher. I don't even know if that's a fruit, but it looks like a berry. I'm pretty sure holly is a berry, or holly barrier maybe. I think that's his name. But I like the design and concept again. It's a bit like just reusing previous ideas, but they pulled it off well, I guess. So he probably would get used quite a lot, and I don't think he's too expensive either. So I would probably use him a fair bit. Okay, this guy, just Pumpkin, I guess. I don't know his name. So it's literally just a blackberry vine, but without the ability to do damage and just has more health. So just a bad Endurian. And also, like, if a zombie's already eating my plant, it's probably dead already. Like, I don't really see a point in protecting it. That might sound stupid, but I'm kind of like a frantic, chaotic person. I quite like Plants vs Zombies too, because it's really like fast paced. Like, I feel like this guy would just slow the game down a lot. So also just build up more zombies, and that will just be more of a problem. So I'll leave him in seeds here. I might use him a bit. I might have used him a bit, I mean. Also, he's got buck teeth, so actually, yeah, I'll put him down a bit. The 2 pumpkins can sit next to each other. Okay, this guy, yeah. Oh, this is in a normal playthrough, really useful. Oh, what are these guys called? Where are they? He like powers up these plants. You unlock them in modern day, and obviously I didn't play it, so I'm not like really educated on like what all of them do. But for my series, the only plant that it can power up is the Dragon Brute. He's good enough as is, and also 50 sun for like a 5-second boost is just not worth it in my opinion. If I had a 3x3 area of Dragon Brutes and I plop a Nocturne in the middle and they all get powered up and they wipe the lawn, yeah, that's good. But realistically, will that ever happen? Not really. And I don't like just sweeping a level with one plant. I'm probably going to have like Kiwi Beast at the front and then like Dragon Brute at the back with Blackberry Vines. Like, I'm never going to have just one singular fruit. Like, if he powered up more than a couple plants and he had a bit more versatility, then yeah, I would have unlocked him sooner. I could have easily unlocked him, probably from episode 3. But like, there's literally no point because he doesn't do damage. He doesn't power up any plant other than the Dragon Brute. And I only unlocked this guy in like Lost City, so there literally would be no point to him. He is unusable, effectively. Another vine, I think this is called Bramble Vine. I'm not sure. Not a clue what he does. I'm just going to assume he does the same as Blackberry Vine. I'm sorry if you like this plant. Never stood out to me. Not really a fruit. He's more just a leaf. He's just like a pile of leaves. He looks like a bush. So he might have got a bit of game time, but not really at the end of the day. Okay, chili pepper, I think. I've heard really good things about this plant. Like, basically a better jalapeno, and it like obviously slows zombies, does damage, like freezes a whole lane. So yeah, good instant, pretty cheap as well, I think. 100 sun, maybe 125. Like, for what he does, yeah, he's good and he does the job. I never actually used him. I'm pretty sure he was in arena for a bit and I might have used him then. But I've got enough instance as it is. He doesn't like, he's not screaming out to me like an A tier or an iconic. There's probably not a lot of people's favourite plant is the chili pepper. Like, he just looks a bit, like, I would not like want to use him, but he probably would be quite useful. So I'll leave him bang in the middle of B tier. Boomberry, I think is what it's called. I might be wrong. Kind of like the bowling bulb, but fruit version and just like more heads. Honestly, Didn't use him, don't know if he's good or not, so I'll just slap him at the end of B tier. Like, it's kind of bad design. He's like, what is this gradient? I don't really know what they were like aiming for, and I don't know what fruit this is based off either. It just says berry in the name, so he might not even be a fruit. I just assumed he was. I've added him in here, but he easily could be down here with the rest of his scum. But yeah, he's not too notable, to be honest. Okay, cran jelly, I think. Okay, this guy I really wanted to use. I'm pretty sure he either like was a really difficult siegem to get or cost money. Like I really liked the way he would like roll across the map. I thought it was so funny. So I'll put him. I don't want to put him in A tier because there's not a lot of fruits in A tier yet. But he definitely would be, like, if I did unlock him, he definitely would be a good addition to the cast, basically. Okay, I know what this guy does now. He's basically like a more expensive chomper. I haven't actually seen gameplay of what he does, but from what I've read, he just seems like pretty average. Like, I've never heard anyone talk about this plant before. And also, an olive's not even a fruit. It's like, I'm pretty sure it is technically, but it's more of a vegetable, like, in my opinion. So I'll just put him, yeah, cherry bomb's better than that. Random. I think this is meant to be a drill, but he just looks like a rotten tooth. Design is not great. I'm probably giving him a hard time. Like, I would use him occasionally. Okay, I think, okay, thing is, this jalapeno, we can all agree, is iconic. But in this series, like, realistically, was he that good? Not really. Look at the design, good concept, does the job done, not too expensive, cool animation, like, you can't really go wrong with a jalapeno. Also, another gemium, so I'm pretty sure we unlocked him early as well, so bit of bias there from me. But I don't think anyone would be upset at me putting him in A tier. And also in the series, yeah, he did get used quite a lot throughout, just because of the like length of time we had him. Okay, Starfruit, I'm pretty sure we had a protection level with this guy, but like realistically, I didn't even need to protect him. He seemed really overpowered. I never actually unlocked him. I think he was like some ridiculous seedium that I could not be bothered to get. But like, when I did use him at one time, it might be my mind playing tricks on me, but I'm pretty sure he was like too good. Maybe the level was like structured around him, but still, I like the design. I like Starfruits. I've never actually eaten one before, but I think they look pretty cool. He's also an OG, so he's got to be kind of high up, I guess. Okay, so the Lava Guava, first of all, like, perfect name. That's instantly what I think. Is he iconic? I think there needs to be like a select few in this, probably like 6 or 7 in here, and then obviously there'll be more in the others. I did unlock another gemium, so again I unlocked him really early, but like, animation is probably the best in the game, in my opinion at least. Not expensive, especially for what he does. Like, he can clear hordes of zombies, and more, like, most importantly, like, my main counter to Gargantuas throughout the whole series. Without this guy, the next best thing would have been spamming like instants like jalapeno and cherry bomb, and I just do not have the funds to do that. So yeah, definitely carried me for a lot of difficult levels, and also sick design as well, and sick name most importantly. Ghost Pepper. I'm pretty sure this is a girl. I don't really know why I think that, but I might have heard it somewhere. But even though, like, it's not that good of a fruit, like, it's just another instant, and I think, like, 75 sun, it's just a worse Lava Guava, to be fair. Probably, other than the Lava Guava, probably my favourite animation in the game. I would bring it into levels just to see the animation, which I know sounds kind of stupid, but like, in my opinion, you could be the worst plant in the game and have the best design, and I still pick you over like the majority of other plants. Also, cool concept. I've never had a ghost pepper, and I never will. I'll put her above the cherry bomb, just based on the fact that it's pretty cheap relatively to all the other fruits on this list. And also, cool design, as I said before. Okay, electric blueberry. Okay, oh my days. I wish I had a face cam when I recorded my gameplay, because genuinely, I've never been more surprised at a fruit. This guy one-shot a Gargantua, and I genuinely went into this series like not knowing anything about that. I think he's stuck behind a paywall, that's why I never used him. But like, cute design. If I did unlock him, I definitely would use him a lot. Realistically, just like sticking 1 or 2 of these at the back, they could just get rid of any bucket heads at the start of the first wave, or like Gargantuas at the end of the last wave, would save me like so much resources, basically, like in the long run. I don't know if I can put I can put him in highly used because I didn't actually use him, but I'll put him at the very top of B just as a little bit of a compensation, I guess. Okay, electric current. I think I might have overhyped this guy a bit because he's literally the second plant I ever unlocked, and I think I wanted to use him obviously because using only one plant for the entirety of ancient Egypt is not a good video, even though that video's got more views than all my other videos combined. But still, I never actually obviously I like the design, I like the concept is really cool, but I would never go into a level thinking, okay, let me use the electric current, he'd be really useful here. I'd only use him for protection, plan your defense levels as a bit of a joke because like the setup looks funny. Maybe if I paired him with garlic, he'd be good. But realistically, he's good for 3 lanes. Like any zombies in the middle 3 lanes would get like absolutely annihilated by this guy. But as we know, there's more than 3 lanes, so he's effectively useful for 60% of the time. So I think he's gonna have to be. I'll put him right there in C team just because he's an OG of the series. Not that great gameplay wise, and also his plant food is buggy. Like he has like a really weird hitbox. I'll put it on screen. But his hitbox is weird or something. And for a game that's like 10 years old, I'm surprised no one's flagged that up. It's just little things that probably don't even matter, but still I noticed it. But like I obviously would love this plant, but just yeah, not great in the grand scheme of things. Okay, I think here we have like two contenders for the top spot. So I'm going to just do them both at the same time. Realistically, without the soda tomato, would this series have been possible? No. Like, that's just true. When am I ever going to get a spare 500 some from falling from the sky? Also, Dark Ages just would not have been possible unless I just spammed impairs, which is just really boring. Cute design and cool concept. And also, I really like tomatoes in real life for some reason. Also, his hair is amazing. This middle part here, I always just thought was so funny for some reason. The design is bang on. Like, there's not a single improvement I think I could make to this guy. If I wanted him to be a bit better, like, I would never bring in 2 sun producers to a level. I think 1 is enough. Obviously, he gets the job done. But maybe having like a little bit of a reduced cooldown, because I'd often have to like plant food the cooldown so I could like use him twice in a row. Yeah, it's fine I guess, but they don't want him to be like the main sun producer. Like in a real playthrough, you're never going to use him. You're obviously going to use like sunshroom or like primal sunflower, or like I don't know, even just normal sunflower is probably better than him. Just like the fact that without him in the series, it wouldn't have been possible. So that's I'm going to put him here, and he might bump back up, but there's only 1 spot, and I think like I'm really annoyed they put this picture of the Kiwi Beast because it looks really underwhelming. If he wasn't here, he'd be here. Like, first plant we unlocked, literally day 7 of ancient Egypt. I think not first plant we unlocked, first fruit I mean. Sick design, sick concept, splash damage. His plant food is actually insane. I don't think I ever say it enough, but like, it would generally just 1 plant food would wipe out like an entire 3rd wave of zombies. It was pretty busted, to be honest. Also, I love kiwis in real life, probably like my favourite fruit, and the kiwi bird as well was cool. Just everything about kiwis are cool in my opinion, especially this plant. I love how there's actually a bit of tactics with this plant. Like, you don't just place him and go boom, job's done. Like, you have to tactically let him take damage so that he can reach its final form and actually be useful. He's not that, like, for a premium or a gemium, he's not like that great. Like, I'm pretty sure a bucket head would kill him in his final stage, which like for 175 sun, I don't think that's really what you want, especially for like a close range attacker that's meant to deal lots of damage. But when you look at my series, all the thumbnails, the center guy is the Kiwi Beast, and I think like for that reason, he is the fruits only series. Like, everything else has come because of the Kiwi Beast. But if he wasn't here, he'd definitely be up here. Like, definitely, like without a doubt, other than maybe the soda tomato, like the GOAT of my series. Okay, enough glazing. I need to actually finish this tier list. Okay, oh my days. Okay, another thing is, do I like? The issue is definitely A, top of A, like minimum. But like, I didn't use the impair too much because he's just so overpowered. Like 0 cost, that's already like a huge win, especially for this series. Barely any recharge time. Basically instantly renders like a bucket head or any like strong plant useless. Like Dark Ages wouldn't have been possible without him. Cool design, cool concept. I unlocked him pretty late into the series though, but like for the time that I did have him, yeah, probably the most used plant out of all of the others. So he's got to go at least A tier. He might get bumped up later if I don't think there's anything better, but I'll leave him there for now. Okay, Blackberry Vine. I like the design, and that was about it. I used him again just for like content purposes. Like, yeah, deals damage, deals splash damage, like cool concept, and he's a vine plant, like that's unique to the series. But is he any good? For 175 sun, would I rather a Blackberry Vine or a Kiwi Beast? That's not even a competition. Like, why would I even consider bringing him to most levels? I think it's just because, like, apart from instance, I'm never really placing anything that high up the field. And if I just have any extra sun, like, yeah, any extra damage is good as well. But he's not, like, amazing. Like, I'll probably leave him, like, bottom of B, to be honest. Also, I had to grind to get him as well. That was so like tedious. That's the reason I don't really like Cediums. It is really like tedious, to be honest. But I think the only thing going for it is its design. Definitely up there for the series. Also, like, we did actually use him a fair bit, but I think that's just because I had like room for him. He's good all round, but a bit expensive. Probably one of the worst finds as well, apart from this guy down here. I don't even know what that is. But yeah, on the whole, like, alright, like a decent plant, I guess. Dragon Brute is like rivaling with the Impair in the iconic spot. I think I'm going to put him there. The squash wasn't even used that much in the series, but I just love him so much. I'm going to put him bottom of iconic. Based alone on just like utility, like the best fruit we unlocked by far. He does the most damage to the most zombies with the fastest rate and the fastest reload time. Also, good plant food. Basically just a cheaper melon pult that hits multiple targets. Like, power creep made this guy really good. Also, the design is alright. I don't like how he has no eyes for some reason, and he's got this like weird green nose. I don't really know what it is. But other than that, I like Dragon Brutes. I mean Dragon Fruits. I like the name as well. Other than the Impair and the Kiwi Beast, like, probably used him the most out of all the fruits. So he's definitely up there, but I often didn't want to use him because he was too good. I wanted to challenge myself and like use the Pepper Pole or something to make the game a bit harder and like more interesting to watch. But that just tells you how good he is, and he's definitely iconic. Like, when I think of the series, I think of him. Another fruit that I never actually used, I think I only unlocked him during the Jurassic Marsh. He has the potential to be the best plant in the game. But to reach that potential, you need like 1,000 sun to just upgrade like one of the plants. Kind of good design. I don't really know why he's shaped like a bean, to be honest. But didn't use him often, and when I did use him, I didn't have enough sun to put anything else on the field, so it looked really like a bland level, to be honest. Maybe in a regular playthrough he would get a bit more usage rate, but I think for this series I'm gonna have to put him quite low down, especially because you guys never actually saw me use him either. Okay, Electric Peel. Pretty sure Neon Mixtape Tour we got him. That was a good rhyme. Definitely A tier. He's better than all of these lot by a long shot. Probably better than. Let me rearrange a bit again. I'll put him there. First of all, I think the best plant food in the game. Like, that's not biased. Like, just generally it is like absolutely insane. The design of it. You can't go wrong with a banana plant, realistically. I don't know, the just design. Again, like, it's similar to the Akiva. There's just something about him that I just love. Also, really good in general, especially at dealing with like hordes of smaller zombies. Like, a row of electric peels behind a row of Endurians would wipe out a whole level, I'm pretty sure. I think just because of the plant food, I like him so much, so that's why he's in A tier. But we did unlock him quite late, but if the series did continue into modern day, he definitely would get like regular usage. I'm gonna finish with I'm gonna finish with Mango Fire because I never actually used him in the series. And I don't think Grapevine I did either though. He literally popped up for one level in the Jurassic Marsh in a conveyor belt level, and he's stuck behind a paywall again I'm going to be honest, he's just a better cherry bomb. If you've ever used him before or seen someone use him before, yeah, he is just objectively a better cherry bomb. Also, I prefer grapes to cherries. I don't think there's a single grapefruit on this list. He's definitely somewhere in B tier. I'm not really sure whereabouts. I don't know to put him higher than cherry bomb because I prefer cherry bomb to him. I'll put him there because he would probably be the best instant plant that we have unlocked. This guy was so annoying to get. First of all, he was an arena plant, so we had to play 100 games of arena to unlock him. But as I said earlier, mango, my favourite fruit. The design's like really basic though. And also, I don't really get what he does. He kind of like shoots lasers from the sky. But his one redeeming factor is like maybe even on par with the Dragon Brew. Like he is just so insanely overpowered. Power creep in this game is insane. Like also, he's not expensive. Like 150 sun, I'm pretty sure, for the amount of damage potential he has is like really great value. We never really used him. I think definitely better than like these lot right at the bottom of B. Realistically, if we did have him, he would definitely be used. So I'll put him quite high. I think there like looks about right. I'm actually really tempted to move Pomegranate down here. Like, I can't stress you guys enough how awful she was when I did use her. And like this guy, I don't know, I just hate the design. Like he's not even a fruit. So I don't even think realistically he should be on the list. I'm really tempted to just move him down here. But I think, yeah, actually, you know what, I think I will, because there's like no point in having him on the list if he's not even a fruit. That looks better than it was before. There's probably still a bit of inconsistencies, like Pepper Pole isn't that bad. Like he's not bordering on unusable. Like neither of these guys really, like they probably would be better, but just because I haven't used them at all, I'll just put them there. Also, I think I was quite harsh on Electric Current. Like I was basing him just on like his usage rate, but realistically, he's probably not my favorite, but like top 10 favorite fruit. So I've got to bump him up at least to the like low end of B. I think B tier is like too heavily loaded. Pause. But realistically, that's always going to be the case. Like most of the plants are average. My favorite plant. This is going to change the entire tier, because if I choose one of these lot, then I'm going to have to move someone up into here. Okay, realistically, the two standouts for like my favorite plant are these two. Maybe Enduring as well, just because of the design. He is like my favorite design, probably, or one of my favorites. But and Lava Guava as well would be other. I think it's pretty boring to have an instant fruit though as your favorite in the entire game. So I'll put Viaki there. He was my first pick for the favorite tier, and I think he deserved to be there. Deserves to be there. I've got to move up one person from each tier. It wouldn't just make sense to go like this. Bam, bam. I think that's pretty fair, like, in general terms of the series. Maybe I put the Squash a bit too high. Like, I'm pretty sure we unlocked him in Dark Ages, and he, like, wasn't even used that much. But I like him, so what are you going to do? And to just finish off, I'll quickly go over the order of worlds as well. Just by, like, enjoyability to play and, like, how I remember them being. These worlds, I don't even know what they are. I just looked up this random tier list. But obviously, the last 3 worlds we never actually got to play. To be fair, Jurassic Marsh I got like halfway through, so I'll put him there. I'm not going to go into too much detail, so I'm just going to quick fire, I think, just off the top of my head. Definitely, I know the worst is Neo Mixtape Tour by like quite a bit. And I think my favourite would have been Far Future. All of these could be interchangeable, but I just remember like, okay, Ancient Egypt isn't going to be that high because I only have 2 fruits unlocked, so it's never going to be like that interesting. It did kind of kickstart my entire series, I guess, like getting me 500k views or whatever, but just like to play, it wasn't as like fun as all of the other ones, or most of the other ones. Wild West was just pretty like uneventful, like lots of conveyor levels, lots of gimmick levels. The amount of times I used a split P in a run, but I'm not even allowed to use. Frostbite Caves, again, like a gimmick kind of annoying, but other than that, like pretty good. Also, the fruits that I unlocked here weren't like amazing, so that's probably why I'm not very fond of it, but like can't really complain, like pretty good world. Pirate Seas, cool concept, cool, like the zombies were pretty cool. I really like the Gargantua from this world for some reason. And the parrot zombie is probably up there with one of my favourite zombies. Again, quite early into the world, so like not much like versatility. but I remember it fondly at least, so that's why it's pretty high up. Dark Ages, yeah, probably the hardest world. Like, going into it, I actually had no plan, and I thought I would skip it out, to be honest, because there were just so many problems. But I liked the zombies, the jester, the king, I thought was quite funny and cool. I think having 25 levels is pretty good. Oh yeah, also I liked the gravestone gimmick as well. I thought it was quite cool. And then Lost City, I think I put this high up because, like, we unlock goats of the series, like Lava Guava, Endurian, Dragon Brute. Like, we unlocked with so many fruits in this, like, one world. The only other thing I would say is the gimmick of giving us extra sun, like, opened up a lot more, like, opportunities for me to actually, like, have fun and, like, experiment with combinations of fruit and stuff. And then far future, we didn't really unlock any good fruits, like, off the top of my head. Definitely the best music out of all the worlds, and also, like, best concept of a world. None of them were inherently bad. Like, I'm being harsh on Neon Mixtape Tour. Like it was still fun to play, but just not as fun as, like, all of the other ones, basically. These 3 down here would have all just been hell to play, so I'm not even complaining that my account crashed. It might have been a blessing in disguise. But on the whole, I'm pretty sure this tier list done the series justice. But this is just my opinion. You guys can let me know what you think about it in the comments, and also what your favourite fruits are. But I thought I'd just do this as, like, a last send-off before I, like, move on to doing something else. I've said this enough already, but thank you guys so much for watching. Like, not just this video, but, like, all my other ones. I didn't really make any money from this series, which I know sounds stupid, but YouTube was quite weird with its monetization. But I don't even care. Like, the editing was really fun, the game in general, and, like, the community that I built. I'm really grateful for all of the support and all of the comments that I've been getting. It took me a year to do this series, which is, like, unimaginably slow. I don't know how you guys have, like, put up with that and, like, stuck with me. The support all the way through and the comments, like, really kept me going. Yeah, I was gonna keep going anyway. If you did enjoy today, hopefully I've earned a subscription from you. It is obviously free and it helps me out a lot. Expect more from me in the future as well. I'm not really sure what yet. I might move to a different game or something. Like, I'm not going anywhere anytime soon. I do have exams coming up, but after that I'll be back to consistently uploading, so look forward to that, I guess. Again, thank you for watching all the way to the end. I really do appreciate it. And please have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you in the next video. See ya.